What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Nerdy Mark channel. I'm Sid, the Nerdy Mark, and this is my review of Raw and SmackDown. So before we begin, I just wanted to make one quick announcement. I have my KamehaCon vlog. I went there last Saturday. I had a great time with my good friend Will, aka Ben Ilvin, on YouTube, and we had a good time. So go check it out. It's on my channel now, and also go check out Will's channel because he has his own vlog of KamehaCon as well. Will, shout out to you. You're awesome, dude. Keep on doing your thing. With that being said, let's begin with Monday Night Raw. So Raw does begin with Kurt Angle. He comes out and he announces Backlash is over, thank God, and he says it's time to look forward to Money in the Bank. That's the next pay-per-view coming up, and he's interrupted by Braun Strowman, who tells a very disturbing story of how he wasn't included in building a treehouse when he was a kid, so he basically went and murdered all the kids in that treehouse. Yeah, and we are making him a babyface. Then we have an interruption by Kevin Owens, who has a gripe saying that he wasn't the legal man during their tag match, and that he shouldn't have been pinned, and that he should be the one entered into the Money in the Bank briefcase and not Braun Strowman, because Braun Strowman does say he wants to be in that match. So Kurt Angle makes an impromptu match between Owens and Strowman. So Owens and Strowman, originally I actually thought this was going to be a squash match. Kevin Owens does actually take Braun Strowman to a bit of a limit. He actually is pretty smart around in the ring. There's a spot where both guys are outside, and Kevin Owens actually hits a tornado DDT off the barricade onto Braun Strowman. That looked pretty amazing. The match does finally end when Braun Strowman does hit the running power slam onto Kevin Owens to win the match, to become the first entrant in the Money in the Bank ladder match. By the way, there are 8 entrants, so it's going to be a 8-person ladder match for both the men's and the women's match. So that's a lot of humanity in the ring. We then have No Way Jose teaming up with Titus Worldwide to take on Baron Corbin and The Revival. Might I say, another mighty fine tag match. I enjoyed this one quite a bit. We had not too many crazy spots around this time. I thought maybe the conga line would somehow get involved. It wasn't a phenomenal match or anything. It was good, it was solid, but it didn't do much for me. The match does end when Baron Corbin does hit the end of days on No Way Jose and pins him to get the victory for the heels. I hope this means that Baron Corbin versus No Way Jose is done with and we don't need to see them feud again. I think Baron Corbin needs to move on to bigger and better things and feud with some other more high-profile people. It doesn't have to be for a title or anything, but just someone with a little bit more higher profile than No Way Jose. We'll have our first match for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Sasha Banks versus Ruby Riott versus Ember Moon in a triple threat match. Another really good match. 3 good matches in a row. The only gripe I have is the fact that my girl Ember Moon was out for the most of the match. We had Sasha and Ruby doing most of the offense on each other. Ember Moon, for the most part, just kept on getting her ass kicked for the longest time. And then finally, in the end, out of nowhere, she did hit the Eclipse to win, to be the first woman in the Money in the Bank ladder match. And the only reason why I'm so, I kind of have a bit of a gripe with that is because Ember Moon is from Dallas, Texas, which is where I'm from. So, us Texans gotta stick together. I'm a Texas boy, she's a Texas girl. We gotta stick together. But that's besides the point. I do love Ember Moon. She is fantastic. On a more serious note, Ember Moon is a phenomenal competitor. I wish we saw her get in a little bit more offense than she did. But other than that, a great match. Good comeuppance for Ember Moon in the end. And congratulations on being the first woman to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match. We then had a mini documentary on Bobby Lashley, enveloping his entire career, starting from when he was a kid and he was doing amateur wrestling. And after coming in and joining the military, thank you for your service, Bobby Lashley. Then, of course, finally coming into the WWE. Conveniently, WWE forgetting about his time in Impact, but, we don't talk about that company. And then Bobby Lashley gives a very awkward interview talking about basically the fact that his sister tried to kill him when he was a kid. He says that he loves them. I almost feel bad for Bobby, man. I really do feel bad for Bobby because I like the guy. He seems like a really cool person, and he does seem like a guy who can kick your ass in real life. And they're just not capitalizing on him. Ever since he returned, he's done nothing of value. I thought maybe after Backlash, we would have Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley be a tag team. That would be a much better, upgrade from Nicolas, like I mentioned. We got none of that. Instead, we get this very awkward documentary and a really, really weird sit-in interview with Renee Young. So I don't know where they're taking Bobby Lashley. I guess it's because he had nothing else going on. So they said, okay, let's make a documentary about you since you came back. So let's just make a documentary about you in case people forgot who you were. So I don't know. I'm a little concerned about Bobby Lashley now. I hope they do something proper with him. Backstage, we had Goldust talking to Kurt Angle about wanting to be entered into the Money in the Bank ladder match. And then my favorite person, Jinder Mahal, interrupts and says that he should be in the Money in the Bank ladder match and not Roman Reigns. That will come into play a little later. Kurt Angle says no, but of course, Jinder Mahal, being the whiny person that he is, he goes and says, I am the modern day Maharaja. Kurt Angle says, you know what? If you can beat Chad Gable, I'll think about putting you in the match. So we get the match between Jinder Mahal and Chad Gable. This was another good match, but of course, 50-50 booking determines that Jinder Mahal wins. I kind of wanted Chad Gable to win this because I like Chad Gable. I really do. I think he's a great wrestler. And I don't like Jinder Mahal. I really don't. I think he's a terrible wrestler. That's why I would have rather had Chad Gable win this. And I wouldn't mind seeing him as a potential Money in the Bank ladder match winner. Honest to God, that would be great. The match does end when Jinder Mahal hits the Kalash onto Chad Gable and wins and beats up on Chad Gable. Then he goes backstage again, where Kurt Angle this time is talking to Zack Ryder. Woo, woo, woo. And Zack also wants in on the Money in the Bank ladder match. Jinder Mahal comes and interrupts, and he says, did you see what I did out there, Kurt? Now you need to put me in the match. And Kurt Angle botches Zack Ryder's line by saying, woo, 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 no way. Why didn't you just say Jose right after that? And then we could have had no way Jose and his damn conga line come in and interrupt. So, yeah, I mean, the match was good. I just didn't like the fact that Jinder won. That's just my personal thing. Zack Ryder and Goldust did not get any opportunity. So I don't know what they're so happy about in this segment. But I don't know. Maybe this is implying that they're going to get opportunities in the future. Who knows? We still have a whole month to build to this pay-per-view. We now have Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre versus Heath Slater and Rhyno. He's got kids, remember. This was basically a squash match, but this was pretty interesting. I did like this match. We even had a quick 3MB reunion moment with Heath Slater and Drew McIntyre. I don't know if I want to see that again, but I thought it was kind of cool. People were even chanting for 3MB. Heath Slater was all excited that Drew McIntyre was back. That was cool. I like that. But ultimately, McIntyre and Ziggler do pick up the win. Cool spots here. McIntyre has Slater, holding his legs, and he has him draped across the ropes, draped over the ropes. And Dolph Ziggler hits the super kick. McIntyre hits the Alabama slam onto Heath Slater. And then they have their zigzag Claymore combination, which I am never going to get tired of. This was fantastic. And of course, they win the match. So more momentum on these guys' sides. I think it's only going to be a matter of time till they challenge for the tag team titles. Maybe not against Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, but maybe whoever takes it off of them. I would love to see the tag titles around these guys' waists. And Dolph Ziggler is interesting again. I'm excited to see where this team goes. I know I said this last time, but this is one of the most exciting parts about Raw now. We now have Elias in the ring. Elias is singing a song about Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode comes out and they have a match. Real quick, before I talk about the actual match, I just want to say another big congratulations to WWE. They managed to take another character that was phenomenal in NXT and completely tarnish him on the main roster. And that man is Mr. Bobby Roode. So congratulations to WWE. You've made me completely not care about Bobby Roode. Really appreciate you guys. Just keep up the good work. This match is nothing great, I guess. I mean, it's all right. I don't know what else to say about it, but, Bobby Roode wins. Yay, good job, Bobby Roode. And then he cuts a promo saying he wants to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match because it would be absolutely glorious, unlike his run in the main roster. But the exact opposite can be said about Seth Rollins and his run as the IC championship, because Seth Rollins gets in the ring and he talks about how he doesn't want to be a champion like The Miz, and he wants to be a fighting champion, which is strange because The Miz was a fighting champion, despite not defending it honorably, I guess. I mean, the man defended it every time, so I don't know what you're talking about, Seth. But that's besides the point. Seth does issue an open challenge to anybody out there. I was half expecting Dean Ambrose to come out just because I really miss the guy. So please come back, Dean Ambrose. Get well soon. I miss you very much. Who should answer his challenge but Mojo Rawley? Mojo Rawley makes his debut on Monday Night Raw. He cuts a promo, and there are "We Want Ryder" chants emanating through the arena, which is weird, but I mean it's cool. I mean it still shows that Zack Ryder is very much over with the crowd, I guess, or it's just that they just really hate Mojo Rawley. They have a damn fine match, but Seth Rollins does win with the combination handheld knee strike plus curb stomp to retain his IC title. So that was great. By the way, I do have an idea for next year's WrestleMania, which I will talk about after I finish covering SmackDown as well. We now have Woken Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, the Raw Tag Champions, taking on Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas, who have officially removed the Miztourage from their name. So we don't know what their name is yet, but I'm guessing it's going to be like the Leading Men or something, because that was what they kind of said in their promo, that, we're going to be the leading men now, no longer supporting actors, or something like that in their promo. This is a okay match, nothing too great about it, but one cool thing I did see is that Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt were both in the ring. For those who don't know, Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt are actually brothers in real life. The match does end when Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy hit a double Sister Abigail, even though they can't call it that anymore because Sister Abigail is gone, essentially, from Bray Wyatt's life, I guess. But anyway, they hit a double Sister Abigail onto Curtis Axel and win the match. These two really need to figure out what their finishing maneuver is going to be. Their double finisher is going to be like Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. Their combination Claymore zigzag is phenomenal. But from an assisted twist of fate to an assisted Sister Abigail, both of them don't really work. I really did like the whole Bray Wyatt getting the opponent in position for the Sister Abigail and then throwing him over to Matt, who would hit him with a twist of fate. That was really cool. That was growing on me. This double Sister Abigail and assisted twist of fate. I don't get it. They need to change up their moves quite a bit. They need to change up their signature a little bit. It's now time for our main event: Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn for the second spot. Who will join Braun Strowman in the 8-man ladder match for the Money in the Bank briefcase? This right here was a pretty good match. This is a really good match. We had Sami Zayn and Finn Balor teaming up to take out Roman Reigns, which of course got one of the biggest pops of the night because everybody loves it when someone beats up on Roman Reigns. Honestly, someone could come in and take a gun and shoot Roman Reigns and people will just throw a freaking party. You should be ashamed of yourselves. We had Sami Zayn and Finn go at it for quite a bit. This was really good to see. Both, great in the ring. And of course, Roman Reigns does come back towards the tail end. He tries to go for the spear, but who stops him but Jinder Mahal? Jinder Mahal stops Roman Reigns from winning this match, and Finn Balor wins, which I'm fine with. But the only thing is that we are going to have a feud between Roman Reigns and Jinder Mahal. Fuck! Yeah, I'm sorry. I am not going to recover from that. I just don't want to see this match. I don't want to see this feud. This feels like a last-ditch effort to get Roman over because, when Roman goes out, he gets booed. When Jinder comes out, he gets booed. And Jinder, I guess they're trying to see who's the worst, who gets booed the most, and I don't know, man. Dude, this is... I don't get why they're doing this, okay? I mean, Roman Reigns has a lot of potential. He should not be in a match with Jinder Mahal, of all people. This is the last person he needs to be in a match with. We're going to get Jinder Mahal versus Roman Reigns. Someone shoot me. And yeah, that's how Raw ends. So let's move on to SmackDown, shall we? SmackDown Live begins with
Paige here.
And she basically runs down the entire show. She talks about how the Backlash pay-per-view was a smash. If you meant smashing my heart into pieces when I saw it, you're right on the money, Paige. She talks about the Money in the Bank ladder match as well, talking about the 8-man ladder match and the 8-woman ladder match. So, kind of reiterating the similar things, running down the card for the night and whatnot, but we'll get into that. So this quickly does transition to our first match of the night, and that is Jeff Hardy, the U.S. champion, versus The Miz, and this is also for a spot in the Money in the Bank ladder match for the men. My goodness, what an opener. This was an amazing match. Fantastic ring work by both these men. I really, really loved it. Jeff Hardy, again, flawless in the ring in my opinion. The Miz knows how to work his way around, so I don't have much to say about their performances. The finish of the match was really good. I hope we see a few more of these every so often. Jeff Hardy hits the Twist of Fate on The Miz, goes up onto the top rope, hits the Swanton Bomb, goes for the pin. Miz kicks out at 2 and quickly rolls up Jeff Hardy for the pin to win the match and be the third man entered into the Money in the Bank ladder match along with Braun Strowman and Finn Balor. So this was really good. Great opener to SmackDown. Congratulations, Miz. Oh, and congratulations, Finn Balor, too. Sorry, I got caught up with the whole Jinder versus Roman thing, but congratulations, Finn Balor, for being in the ladder match as well. We now have our second women's Money in the Bank ladder match qualifying match. That is quite a mouthful. And we have that between Charlotte and Peyton Royce. Peyton Royce and Billie Kay of the Iconics, they cut a promo saying that when they saw Charlotte's losing face, it cured Billie Kay's uncle's stutter. Glad to see he's all better. This was a really good match as well. I liked it, showing off the athleticism of Charlotte and the craftiness of Billie Kay. This was great. I liked it. But the match does end with Charlotte hitting the spear with Peyton Royce kicking out. Charlotte puts the figure 4 leg lock transitioning into the figure 8 onto Peyton Royce and wins the match. So she will be joining Ember Moon in the Money in the Bank ladder match for the women. Ember Moon and Charlotte, that is pretty interesting. They're both in the match together. I want to see these two interact in the ring so bad because I feel that it would be pretty awesome. Congratulations to Charlotte. And we also did get a lot of selfie promos from many of the different WWE superstars, tag teams, single stars, female stars. A lot of them, and they're all talking about the Money in the Bank ladder match. But Carmella cuts a cell phone promo, instead promoting her Melibration next week when WWE goes across the pond to England. This is going to be interesting to see, her Melibration. I think there's going to be a lot more of her taunting Charlotte. Maybe the Iconics might show up. We don't know. But I'm interested to see what they do for the Melibration. So that was... kind of wanted to touch up on those before I forgot. We then got Cesaro versus Xavier Woods. What led up to this match? Backstage, we had Sheamus eating some Lucky Charms because he felt bad about his loss to Xavier Woods because, obviously that's what anyone would do. So Cesaro comes in and he says, I probably could have beaten him. This kind of irks Sheamus and he's like, oh, really? He basically turns into
Paige here
and books that match between Cesaro and Xavier Woods. So in their gym bag, they find that their bags are loaded with pancakes, and Sheamus goes crazy because he hates pancakes. You should be ashamed of yourself, Sheamus, because pancakes are amazing. They have this match. We have Cesaro versus Xavier Woods, who are basically fighting over pancakes. That's become the New Day shtick, is to put pancakes in people's bags. Honestly, I wouldn't mind that either. I wouldn't have to cook breakfast every day. This was a good match as well. Xavier Woods being super athletic. Cesaro being extremely athletic, with, of course, Cesaro going over. He wins 50-50 booking. This, of course, is leading to next week where the Bar and the New Day will face off, and one member of the winning team will go and be entered in the Money in the Bank ladder match. So I am interested to see how that's going to play out next week. Sticking with the tag teams for just a second, we had backstage, we had a weird segment with a bunch of discombobulated tag team merchandise. We had New Day action figures with their faces melted off, the Usos merchandise ripped in half, the Bar's Mohawk all destroyed, Sheamus' Mohawk all destroyed, and it was all courtesy of the Bludgeon Brothers, who say, we love toys, we have a lot of toys, so come out and play. And they smash their hammers onto the camera. It's the Bludgeon Brothers. I love them so much. They are amazing. And you know what? I think they've been watching a lot of Toy Story. Toy Story is a great movie, so I am okay with that. Then got Mandy Rose in her first singles match on SmackDown Live, going up against Becky Lynch. Sonya Deville says that she's going to be out there with her, but
Paige
says, no way, Absolution is dead, as she said last week. She reiterates that fact, and she tells them Sonya Deville is barred from ringside. So we finally get our first look at Mandy Rose's entrance. It's like a very sexy and seductive entrance with like the kind of blurry camera filter, and you know, like her just walking really slowly and all sexy into the ring, giving Corey Graves the biggest hard-on. It was a good match. I liked it. Mandy Rose does beat Becky Lynch clean. I liked it. Good momentum for her. I don't know if they're going to keep Mandy and Sonya together or if they're going to separate them. We now have our main event, and that is Daniel Bryan versus Rusev for the 4th spot in the Money in the Bank ladder match for the men. And my goodness, what a phenomenal match. I loved this one as well. The opening match and the ending match, both great on SmackDown Live. Both men really put it all out there in the ring. I have no complaints about it. Rusev and Daniel Bryan have a lot of chemistry in the ring, and it's great. But the match does end with Rusev going over and filling in the 4th spot in the Money in the Bank ladder match. That was pretty interesting. I honestly thought when this match was coming out, I was like, okay, you know, it's Daniel Bryan. They're not gonna make him lose, at least not yet. So you know, they're gonna make Rusev eat the pin. You know, I was really concerned because I thought Rusev, they just love jobbing him out. Let's job him out to Daniel Bryan, I guess, you know, because it's kind of an honor. They did the unthinkable and they gave Rusev a chance. You know, I kind of want him to win this match now. I kind of want him to be Mr. Money in the Bank now. But at the same time, I am also wondering what is next for Mr. Bryan Danielson. But I am glad that Rusev won. Happy Rusev Day to everybody. This is great. I love it. Before I talk about what I thought about Raw and SmackDown and everything, I wanted to talk about that little angle that I had for the Intercontinental Championship and Seth Rollins. This is kind of my fantasy booking type of thing. I just wanted to share this with you guys. If you like it, let me know. I'm not going to do these all the time. I'm going to do them every so often, maybe every time I get an idea. Here's a quick fantasy booking idea for Seth Rollins. So Money in the Bank is happening in June. There's also one more event happening in June, not in WWE, but in New Japan. We have a Dominion. You know, we had Chris Jericho show up and attack Tetsuya Naito once again. He's going to be challenging for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. I personally want Chris Jericho to win that match because I want him to win it. And then in August, when we have SummerSlam, Seth Rollins versus whoever he's facing, he retains against that person. The lights go out, the lights come back on, and then behind Rollins stands the IWGP Intercontinental Champion, Chris Jericho. Before Rollins could do anything, Chris Jericho takes his belt, attacks Seth Rollins, then hits him with a code breaker. He gets on the mic and he says, "Do you know what happens, Seth Rollins, when you try to be a better Intercontinental Champion than me? Do you know what happens?"
You just made the list!
So we have him put Seth Rollins on the list, and we have Seth Rollins versus Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 35. I kind of want Jericho's presence to be felt as we go towards WrestleMania 35. But I mean, he doesn't have to always be there, because I know he's going to be going back and forth between New Japan and WWE at this point. We should have every so often, maybe every other pay-per-view, we should have Jericho come out and brutally attack Seth Rollins, continuing the fact that, his aura is still around. The aura of Jericho, drink it in, man. All the way up to WrestleMania 35, we have Jericho versus Seth Rollins. IC champ versus IC champ. WWE, if you can find it in your heart, please make this happen. So overall, I will first of all say that I thought SmackDown did a much better job this week. I did enjoy SmackDown a little bit more than I did Raw, just because it felt like a much more cleaner show, a much more solid show. Raw, I felt like, has kind of lost its way since the Superstar shakeup, because, they lost Jeff Hardy, they lost Samoa Joe, they lost Miz. The biggest losses for Monday Night Raw became the biggest gains for SmackDown Live. SmackDown Live is killing it right now. Hopefully Raw can bounce back in the coming weeks. But I did think there were some bright spots on Raw, like the first opening match, Kevin Owens versus Braun Strowman. That was really good. I enjoyed everything they're doing with Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler at the moment. The women's triple threat match was great. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Seth Rollins versus Mojo Rawley was good. And despite Jinder Mahal making his presence felt, the main event match between Finn Balor, Roman Reigns, and Sami Zayn was actually a really good match. Moving on to SmackDown, the opening match was really good between Jeff Hardy and The Miz. Peyton, Royce, and Charlotte was a pretty good match as well. Daniel Bryan versus Rusev. Happy Rusev Day. Rusev is finally getting into the match. I'm really excited for this. So, those are my thoughts on Raw and SmackDown this week. Let me know what you guys thought about both shows in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on social media, and tell your friends about the Nerdy Mark. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Sid signing off. You guys take care. Bye-bye.